Paula, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
I know this is great. I've known you for a long time as the county clerk for Mercer County Clerk.
That's right.
And you know, it's been a long journey, but your office does so many things. I was floored. Just for people watching or listening, what does your office, like all the different components, and it's like you could just run through it, but just to give people an idea.
Sure, yeah. So a lot of people don't know that my main function is to be the property recorder for the county. So anybody who buys or sells a property in Mercer County goes through my office. And, you know, that is how we generate a lot of revenue, by the real estate fees that they pay to transfer properties. But if you want to know information about your property, if you're in Mercer County, you can come into my office and we have a library and you can search the information about your property. So that, and we also have an online search system for that. So that's one of our biggest functions, and a lot of people don't know that.
I didn't know that, I'll be honest. I was thinking more of the other stuff, like you marry people.
Right, I do marry people. They have to have an appointment, and we do it like twice a month in my office. If they can get an appointment with us. Also, we issue passports and renew notaries. So if you're a notary, you have to apply through Treasury, the Department of Treasury, but then we swear them in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then one of our biggest and most well-known functions is overseeing elections and issuing I create the ballot and I issue vote-by-mail ballots.
Oh, I know. Okay, so I will have to say for the ballot, like nobody thinks how the names get on in what order. You do a little
drum.
drum. I know, with the thing, like bingo.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, this, like nobody thinks about it, but it's a fair way to do it.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
Because honestly, your brain works in a certain way. And so people who maybe don't know party or no person may just vote, but you make it fair.
Thanks. Yeah. We all of us county clerks in New Jersey, we have to actually draw for names in the order in which they're going to be. And people don't know that. They think that, we just put them in based on somebody from the party telling us, but we actually draw. And this year the ballot design is going to be a little different. Yeah. So instead of everybody being in a line in the primary election, like all Democrats, all Republicans that are endorsed, that's not going to happen anymore.
Okay.
They're going to be set up in a block style. So every office will be set separately. So for example, the congressional office. Now, there's not a congressional race this upcoming election, but the congressional candidates will be 1, 2, 3, all together, different Democratic candidates in the Democratic Party, but the incumbent might not be first. It could be whoever is running against the incumbent could be the first, whoever I draw. And then you're going to go to the assembly, and the assembly is going to be in a different order. I'm going to draw them each separately. Yeah. So everybody's going to be like by office. So it's going to be different. Yeah. I'd love to send you a copy so you can maybe show people.
No, I would love to show people. And I'm going to tell you why, because nobody understands the voting process. They all assume, and I've been to several things and helped you with some videos on it, and I learned a lot. And it really is done through a process that, things get to crack, and we're going to talk about voting. You have some new things that are happening, but real reason is anyone traveling soon in the near, like as of May 7th, right?
Yes.
Real IDs, passport changes, girl, what's going on?
Yeah, a lot is happening.
A lot going on.
Okay.
Better pay attention if you're traveling anytime soon.
Yes, so normally, prior to, I guess, until May 7th, you could use a driver's license to travel within the United States. Okay, starting on May 7th of 2025, you will need a passport to travel within the United States or a real ID. And a real ID is one of those IDs that is, if it's a driver's license, it has a star on the upper right corner.
It's in the corner. We're showing that right here.
Yes,
Andrew pulled that up. Yeah.
And that star shows that it's a real ID and you could use it to travel within the United States. But before, you didn't need that. You could just use any driver's license.
Right.
But the federal government is requiring this. It's based on the post 9/11 changes. It's called the Western Hemisphere Travel Initiative. And based on that, they had said we have to crack down on security even further than we already have. So it's taken years to get here, obviously. We're in
I know,
2020.
it's like 9/11, like, wow.
Yeah. And there were other, safety issues that we've already put
There's
in.
been a lot.
A lot.
Especially recently.
Taking off your shoes in the airport, things like that.
Yeah.
But now, I know, right? But now they're saying you have to have this real ID to travel within the United States. But a passport is real ID. So if you have a passport, you're good. And we also have these passport cards, and they're the same size as a driver's license, and they are real ID.
Oh.
So you can get one of those for $35 in my office, and that is considered real ID as well.
So question, if you have a passport, like your typical one, can you just get a card too, or you have to go through the process again?
You have to go through the process again.
Of
So if you want to get a passport card, and I actually don't have one yet, I'm getting one, but I would have to take my passport, send it back to the federal government with all the passport application information, and then and the new fee, and then they will send you the passport card.
Okay.
So I'm going to do it all at once.
Yeah, just get it done.
Yeah.
So you don't have anything to do with TSA, do you?
No.
I know. That's my next project. But I'm going to say, anybody who does not have a passport, just get one. I was going to say, your office, Dave and I were like deer in headlights with this passport paperwork. They were like, you're divorced. I've been divorced for so many years, like forever ago in my 20s. And we're like, I don't even know where that is. And so we went into your office and they were so helpful.
Aww.
Walked in there, everyone, first of all, was nice and pleasant. We had a really good experience and we got it done. And because it's panicky because you don't want to mess it up because we were going to go on vacation and then COVID hit. But we needed our passports and to get to a certain time, like we kind of waited last minute. But anyway, just your office was really friendly. So I wanted to let you know that. I don't know if I ever told you that.
I appreciate that. That's good to hear. We try to strive for good customer service in the office, so I'm glad to hear you had a good experience. So
just for that, you have locations, just one on Hamilton or?
Two. We have two. So our main office in Trenton, which is 209 South Broad Street, first floor. Come on in. We'll take good care of you. Our office hours are 8:30 to 4:30, except on Wednesdays, and we're open until 6:45 on Wednesday evenings.
Okay.
And then in Hamilton, at the Mercer County Connection office, that's on Route 33 in that strip mall where
ShopRite.
The Acme.
Is it Acme?
Yeah, Acme Shop.
Grocery store.
Yeah. And that's where we are. And then it's called Mercer County Connection. But you do need an appointment for the Mercer County Connection. Because we have been so busy with people coming in to need passports right now.
Yeah.
And that's tied to this reason, which was the real ID. The other reason is because a lot of people are afraid that they need ID because if it's a lot of people from Spanish-speaking countries are afraid they could be deported. So we had hundreds of people coming in speaking Spanish coming. We had to go to a requirement that everybody have an appointment.
That makes sense. You're not waiting 5 hours when you can make an appointment and maybe wait less time because, it is a process.
Yes.
And when someone comes in, you guys make sure everything's done properly. Where do they just go on your website?
They'll go on mercercounty.org and then click on County Clerk. Okay. And then you have to go to Office Services and you'll see passports. And on the passport page, it tells you everything you need to bring when you come into the office.
Okay. Well, just for everybody, we're going to put a link down in the feed here, in the comments or content, whatever, down below, so that you can click on it and get there because I know going to any county or government website, not the friendliest navigation.
Right.
It's just so much information.
It is.
Because everything, what you do is like a lot. And there's like buttons for here and it's down deep. So, but no. I just wanted to let everyone know that because I had a really good experience. So Real ID is a thing as of May 7th.
Yep.
But that is not you, that is DMV.
DMV. But you do need an appointment with DMV to go in to get a real ID. You can't just walk in there.
No.
And you have to also, you can make your appointment online with DMV to make that real ID appointment. And it's $35 for that also.
Okay.
So I'm not going to give you what you need because that's through DMV.
That's them, yeah.
But go on their website before you go. I personally, when I went to renew my license, this was just recently, I wanted to get a real ID. I was like, let me get it while I'm here. And I didn't have everything. I had my passport, but it wasn't enough. You need some other information like utility bills, things of that nature. So go on their website before you go.
I'm going to say recently we went to DMV for Dave had to do anyway, made an appointment, got in, got out.
Good.
It has changed. It's really efficient now. So that's just letting anyone know, because it's like going, I hate saying like to the dentist or something, you get anxiety.
Yeah.
And even with the passports, but just so everyone knows it's a lot better now than it used to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's changes for that. But passports, we also have some changes for
Yes.
male, female,
Yeah.
binary.
Yes, that's
Tell what's
another
going on.
new change. So,
Yeah.
as of the new administration federally, the president issued an executive order saying there were going to be two genders in the United States, male and female.
Okay.
Passports, which I understand, okay, but passports had an X option, which was
Which Andrew, pull that up,
for
I'll show you.
non-binary
Yeah.
individuals or people who would like to not declare, a gender. Well, all of those people that had come into our office and obtained a passport with the X marker, they're not being processed. They're not being processed, they're being held, which is not our doing as the county clerk's office in Mercer County. So we're very
Right.
sorry. It is something that we did process your
above your
passport
pay grade.
application. Yeah, it came in, went to the federal government, and they issue those passports. We just
Okay.
process the applications. And they're not. So now what they've decided is that they're going to assign a gender to some of those people with the X marker based on their birth, if they can ascertain how they were born.
Okay.
That's what's happening. I'm not sure. Sometimes people maybe have changed, had sex change operations. I don't know the answer to that. But what I will say is if you are one of those individuals, contact the federal U.S. Department of State
Okay.
and ask them what to do. We don't want anyone to have
Is it-
lose money. We don't want anybody to, because when you come in to get a passport, it's $130 for the passport, and then you have to get the photo, which is another, and then you have a county fee of $35. So you might spend up to $200, and we don't want to see anybody lose their money. And I just want you to know it's not us,
Right.
but there is this change.
So you have a link we can put in also below?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So they're linked to. So you have questions, because don't bombard. You're going to just refer them to that anyway.
Okay.
Because we don't know what the rules are and what they perceive as male, female in the transition period.
Right. So there's just no more
Okay.
X.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, it's not my office. And honestly, I feel bad for the people in this situation, but it's not something
Yeah.
that we did. That goes for every county clerk in New Jersey. We all were just,
Yeah. It's across the United States.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Across the United States. It's a federal
New
law.
application. New
Yeah.
application. So now the application is male or female. And I am worried because if people plan on traveling right now with an X, I would strongly suggest that you check to make sure you can get back into the country.
Oh, okay.
Because if you have that kind of a passport and you leave the country, you may not be able to get back in. And that's what I'm hearing. And I have not personally experienced that from anybody I know.
Go to the link, call the number.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
Call the
because that's
federal office.
Yeah, the federal office. No, that's really important. In fact, maybe we could put a number on the screen too
Yes.
to show everybody. Because, no, people do want to come home.
Yeah.
Wow, you have a lot going on here.
Yeah, we do.
Your office. No wonder why you're so busy. Then we didn't even get into voting.
I know.
So your office obviously handles voting, and don't you run like the voting?
Yes.
The whole.
I designed the ballot, which we talked about a little bit, how I
Uh-huh.
design it, and it's going to be different. That's also due to a state lawsuit. Like we used to have the line, and people would go down the line, and they would know who was endorsed in a primary. Now, if you want to know who's endorsed by either party, you have to look for the endorsed slogan, which on Mercer, it's the Mercer Regular Democratic Organization, and the Republicans are Regular Organization Republican. But
Okay.
then there are going to be other candidates as well. And it's going to be by block, by office. The other thing we do is we issue vote by mail ballots.
Right.
And that's huge. I mean, we have 44,000 people on our vote by mail list in Mercer.
Right.
So that means you get a ballot for every election. Well, now there has been a purge of the vote by mail ballots.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're on the list and you haven't voted in 4 years by mail since the 2020 presidential,
Right.
2020, not 24, you're going to be taken off the list.
Okay.
Okay, so if you want to vote by mail and you haven't voted, you need to reapply.
Okay. Fair enough.
Right.
People die, people move, and it still. No, I will say, seeing your process, and I've sat through some of your talking engagements where you had people on at the lobby club.
Yes.
There's processes that, for everything you do. And of course, mainstream media, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, but no one was hearing what you were saying. And I'm sitting here, I'm going like, I didn't even know this. It made me feel better. So I get that because, we want the voting to be fair and we want people to feel like by that process, you're doing your job because you are doing your job, but I'm sure you got a lot of phone calls. That's all I got to say.
Of course, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. And we work with Homeland Security, we work with them in the state level and the federal level to make sure that,
Yeah, they were
safe
great.
elections. They are great.
I
yeah.
know. I wish that could have been on the panel. People needed to hear that. Maybe one day we will, because I feel like it allowed a voter to understand, like, people aren't just doing this. You're not taking batches and putting them in the box. You guys really have your back covered. You
Right.
dot your I's, cross your T's. It's
Right,
important.
like every vote by mail that goes out,
Yeah.
we log when we mailed it. The Board of Elections logs when it comes back,
Yeah.
in the system, so nobody can get more than one ballot. Things like that. People think that we could just randomly mail them out. No, you have to be registered. They check signatures to make sure the vote by mail ballot application matches the registration signature.
It's a lot of work.
A lot of stuff. Yeah, a lot goes on.
And then when they vote, there's also like the electronic version and the paper version.
Yes.
So you guys really have your checks and balances. But you know what? It takes like one or two like whatever, and mainstream media gets a hold of it. Next thing you know, everybody's like fraudulent, and it's not the case. So.
Right, because people don't know everything that goes on in the background. They just think, we're just mailing ballots out randomly, and that's not at all the way it is.
No, I hear it, and I'm just like, actually, I saw what they do, and in this particular case, I don't know every state, but So for anybody who has not used a mail-in ballot since 2020, you're saying, and have not used it. So say 2020, you get it, you voted like in 2022, but haven't voted since.
You'll be okay.
You'll be okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's if you haven't voted by mail in 4 years,
right,
they're going to come off. But you can reapply, maybe.
Why would someone mail and vote anyway? Just for people, anyone watching, so they understand.
A lot of people love it because it's convenient. The ballot comes to your house.
Right.
You don't have to reapply because you're on the permanent list. So, and every election that happens, you get a ballot. So, like, for example, Lawrence is having a special school election on March 11th. Everyone in Lawrence who's on that permanent list, they're getting a ballot. It comes to them. So if they don't even know about it, they're going to know, and they can vote. It also is great for elderly people who don't want to get out, or sick people. So it's just convenient.
Yeah.
Or commuters, people,
No, and you might be on vacation that time, and you're like, I want to cast my vote. Like, how do I do that? So just for anyone listening, go mercercounty.org.
County Clerk.
Link in the below. No, I mean, because it's important to people know that is your voice.
Yes. Your vote is your voice.
Your vote is your voice, and you need to use it because you can't complain if you don't. That's my rule. Did you vote? Okay, then you can complain, whatever you want. But the point is that everybody needs to use their voice. And we have technology now. It's made it so much easier to do.
Yes. If you go to, I like this site. It's vote.nj.gov.
Yeah, that's
a state site. It has registration information on it in several languages. So you can register to vote online there. You can register to vote by mail, become a vote by mail ballot user, and it's statewide. You just go on there, and if you want to vote in Mercer, you go to Mercer. If you want to vote in Burlington, you go to Burlington. It's just a great site. Vote.nj.gov.
And it's actually easy to follow. They made it pretty simple. They did a good job with that.
Yes.
I remember getting some information for some stuff we did in past. So anyway, is there anything else besides?
Well, one thing, and I will leave it with the primary election is always the first Tuesday in June.
Okay.
This year, it's June 10th.
Oh.
Because it was a Jewish holiday on June 3rd. Oh, okay. So that is a statewide primary, and we have a governor's race this year. So in both parties, there's a primary.
Okay.
So I want to make sure everybody knows that it's not June 3rd, it's June 10th.
Yeah, and so I'm just going to say this: if you're not registered either or, you can't vote in primary, right? Or can you?
You can, but you have to declare a party at the polls or before you get the ballot.
Right.
So you do have to declare at that point.
Okay. No, because my thing is, yes, like you're president of the United States, it's a big deal. I get that, but the people who really impact you personally, where you live, is your governor and your council.
Yes.
And so many people don't even pay attention to that.
Yeah.
And I really need people to strongly encourage, if you want to make a difference where you live, have to pay attention to what's happening with the polls.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're controlling your taxes and services you get
Yeah.
directly. Yeah.
No one pays attention. Most people don't even go to like a council meeting
Yeah.
where a lot of stuff happens, like all these warehouses that we won't get into.
School board is also a very
Yeah.
big part of your tax bill.
So just people start paying attention to so you have a voice in the way that is comfortable for you is my message to everyone. And I just really want to thank you for coming in, and your office is great with answering any questions anyone has.
Thank
right?
you. Yeah, always. We're accessible. If you want to call us,
Yep.
we'll answer your questions. Passports is 609-989-6473.
Okay.
And elections is 609-989-6494. And we're happy to answer anything and you call me directly if you want.
Oh, I know. Plus, you're out all the time, which is what I love about you. You actually serve, the people. You're out all the time. You're in the community. So you are a face for your job, and I love that.
Thank
So
you.
Thank you.
It's good seeing you everywhere, too.
When we're back, the buzz is back. So please like, share, and comment this information because it does impact you personally. And if you know somebody of some of this content that needs to know about passports and Real ID, you may want to send it to them. Thanks, and see you next time.